confusion with the venue, so thank you for being patient with us. As Executive Director of HSF, it is my honor to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for our annual lecture. It is a privilege to gather here to reflect on the role of civil society after... Oh, you can't hear? Sorry. Is that better? Is that better at the back? Can we hear? Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So it's a privilege to gather here today after 30 years of democracy in South Africa and what the role of civil society means after 30 years and going forward. As we mark this 30-year milestone, it's a good time to consider the progress that we've made, and we have made significant progress. But there are challenges that remain. And civil society in the past and going forward is going to be indispensable in shaping the future of this country. We have stepped into the shoes often of government, and sometimes to even topple government when we toppled the apartheid regime. And in order to now protect rights, promote justice, and serve humanity, civil society may have a different role, but it still has a critical one. As Helen Suzman said, I stand for simple justice, for equal opportunity, and for human rights. These are indispensable elements in a democratic society and well worth fighting for. These words resonate today, and they remind us of our shared responsibility to uphold these principles. We have tried our best at HSF to uphold these principles with the work that we do. In this year alone, we have sought to secure the rights of ZEP holders, of vulnerable farm workers in rural areas, as well as to foster dialogue on the new government that we have, the government of national unity. And we try our best to ensure that the most vulnerable in society are given dignity and have their rights promoted. We wish to continue this work well into the future. Today's lecture is particularly meaningful because our speaker, Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman, has dedicated his life to the values of justice, to human rights, and to serving humanity. He founded Gift of the Givers, which is an organization that does not only provide emergency aid and steps in very quickly where government struggles and fails to do so. He also brings relief on a regular basis to the most vulnerable in society that are forgotten and long downtrodden. Through his work, Dr. Sooliman has shown us that civil society is not only a force of compassion, but one of accountability and resilience. We believe that the role of society goes beyond filling the gaps that government can't. Civil society also has another role to play, and that is to inspire and to make sure that government fulfills its responsibilities in terms of the Constitution. Gift of the Givers and Dr. Sooliman exemplify this role. They're providing a model of service that demonstrates what a compassionate and responsive government could achieve. The Foundation's choice of Dr. Sooliman as this year's speaker reflects our commitment to values of justice, dignity, and accountability that lie at the heart of democracy. As South Africa embarks under a new chapter, under a government of national unity, there is renewed hope for a partnership between civil society and government. However, the experience of the last 30 years reminds us that civil society must remain vigilant, because advocating for effective governance and ensuring that all South Africans are entitled to the Constitution's promise. The values of Ubuntu and of shared humanity are central to this partnership, but they must never be used as a pretext for government to abdicate its duties. Today, we have the privilege of hearing from Dr. Sooliman, whose experiences offer a profound perspective on the power of civil society to shape a more just and humane society. His work reminds us that true democracy is not just about the structures of government, but about the spirit of service that connects us all. So without much ado, I give to you Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman.
Okay, it's on. Thank you, Nasima. Thank you, Khalil, for inviting me. Thank you, everybody. I've been working in this field for 34 years. 2 years prior to Gift of the Givers, and 32 years with Gift of the Givers. I've watched, analyzed, seen what people have to say, and quite commonly, everybody blames government. We're always finding fault with government. Yes, there are faults in government, but to blanketly blame everybody is irresponsible. I've worked with people inside government for many years. There's a lot of good people in government wanting to do the right things. The good people don't speak. The bad people make the biggest noise. And when that happens, you destroy the good of those that want to do good. You destroy the morale. You see, what we need to understand, yes, there's potholes. Lights don't come on. Water is not delivered. Road diverges are not cut. Service delivery is a problem. But there is nothing more destructive than when a nation turns on itself. You can't fix anything after that. The pain, the hate, the revenge will destroy. There will be no progress. So when we say that 1994 was a miracle, indeed, it was a miracle. I've intervened in 47 countries. I've seen people tear themselves apart. Same race, same color, same religion, neighbors, same street, tear each other completely apart. There's no way you can fix that. Yet, that should have happened in our country. What the injustice, the oppression, everything that went wrong, the world's media were expecting that. So I want to go back to start the story. That no matter what has happened in the last 30 years, what happened in 94 was the greatest event that this country experienced because of my experience in 47 other countries. You see, when 27 April took place, the world's media came here with their war rooms. Now, why do you come with a war room? To film, agriculture, art, entertainment? You come here because you're expecting mayhem, chaos, violence, bloodshed, and the white people were going to be thrown into the sea. They even told you, fill your houses with food, put fuel in your car, keep passports ready, get ready to run to the airport. The country is going to burn. They came for that. Fortunately for us, and unfortunately for them, because media loves sensation, it was the most boring day in world history. Nothing happened. But in nothing that happened, everything happened. You see, those people who stood in the queue, and I'm going to be deliberate about it, the black masses, they stood there with faith and spirituality. And they said, we know what happened. They didn't say the words, but the body language said it clearly. We know what happened to George Botha, Solomon Mashlangu, Hector Peterson, Ahmed Timol, Hussein Hafaji, Imam Harun. We know what happened about Kufut, Capri Vistab. We know the CCB. We know BOSS. We know detention without trial, judicial killings across countries. And we've known how our family members have disappeared and killed, and the torture and apartheid and the past laws. We know all those things. But we won't take revenge. It's not in our nature to take revenge. We will build a new country together. All of us together. The victors, the real heroes that day were the masses of South Africa. Not that a black government replaced the white government. Governments come and go all the time. There's nothing new. They change all the time. But the fact that the masses stood strong in principle that we will not burn anything, we will do this together. Their leader Mandela set the trend. He encouraged, he brought everybody together. The same civil servants were still in government at that point. He didn't change them. Largely, they were all there. And he said, we'll form a government of national unity to be all-inclusive. At that point, what this country needed was healing and unity. That was the most decisive decision taken by the country. And everything that comes after that is because of that day. If we failed on 27 April 94, we would have had nothing today. Potholes would have been insignificant. Dams would have been insignificant. ESCOM would have been insignificant because we would have been a country in total chaos every single day with friction and hate and disorder. Yes, some people still haven't realized it. They haven't got the negativity out of their blood yet. It's still there. They need to get rid of the apartheid mentality. Sorry, I'm a very frank guy. They need to get it out of the system. They can't get it out of the system. But fortunately, most South Africans have embraced each other. The following year, in 95, Mandela did the unthinkable. He wore Francois Pienaar's green rugby jersey for the World Cup, much to the annoyance of the ANC. How can you wear the green shirt? Rugby was a sport of apartheid. How can you do that? He showed true leadership, and he won it in any case. How in 1 year, an entire population at that time of 40 million people, a black population can support a white team? How is that possible? That showed true leadership. It set the standard for us to concentrate on building the most important thing, that humanity, that compassion, that togetherness. If they didn't do that, I repeat, we would have been in a total mess today. And I see this from experience from other countries. We had the golden years. The treasury was flooding with money. Things were going in a great way. And then suddenly we lost the plot. And one of the reasons we lost the plot is civil society took their eye off the ball. People said it's government's responsibility. You need to understand the country does not belong to the government. It's not their country. You're only administrators, like in a corporate company. It is not their country. It is my country and your country and the country of 65 million people. We take care of our country. The first rule of it being your country is that you are a patriot. No matter what the problems are, you have to be a patriot. Your children were nurtured here. Your grandparents, your parents, you, your children, your grandchildren are nurtured in this country. We've made great progress in this country. We have to be patriots. It can't be perfect. You know, my teacher told me, bad habits doesn't make a person a bad people. People can have bad habits. It doesn't make them bad people. I'll ask any of you here, are all of you 100% perfect? With no flaws, no weaknesses, no shortcomings? No. You're never going to find a priest. You're not going to find no saint like that. You're not going to find a priest, an imam, a rabbi. No matter. You're not going to find anybody like that. We all have our flaws. That's why we call human. So we try to do the best we can. You're going to look for a flawless president. Sorry, you're going to die waiting. You know, it's never going to happen. You're going to find flawless. You have flaw people in flaw in the government, in the corporate sector, in the religious sector, in the NGOs, in sports, in tax association, everywhere. If I tell you I'm perfect, just call my wife. And I'll be finished, completely destroyed. So there is no perfect person. We have to accept people with good intention and what they aim to achieve. Yes, there are serious problems in government. I'll come to that in a little while. But overall, the country has done exceptionally well. And especially after the last election, I see a lot of good things, but I saw that in 2020 already. I was given lots of talks, and my first main talk was in the Nelson Mandela Business Chamber and Mandela Day 2020, where I spoke about all these things 4 years ago, that this country is going to prosper, is going to make huge progress. But now in building a country, people get worried. Pre-election, people were scared. What's going to happen? The country is falling apart, load shedding, economy. And people say there's lots of challenges. You can be physically fit. You can go to the gym every day. Your body can be super fit. What will destroy you is negative mindset. Once you have negative mindset, you are totally paralyzed. You see, I'm not imposing my belief system on you. That's not my business. But all I can tell you, that from my lived reality, there's only two qualities that give you positivity and hope. And that is faith, believing in a religion, and spirituality. You don't have to believe in a religion. It covers everything. Spirituality encompasses everything, religion and non-religion, because it encompasses humanity. People can have humanity, they can have compassion, they can have goodness without belonging to any religion. As long as you have those two qualities, positivity and hope flows through you. I'll give you one South African example, and I'll give you one international example. In winter of 2022, our green truck goes up the mountain into Komani, Queenstown. In the rural Brak area, a lady comes out of her house on crutches, looks at the truck. Everybody knows our branding. She looks at the truck, she picks up a hand, she looks heavenwards, and she says, "You didn't let me down." What was she talking about? You see, in a house, there was no food. There was no breadwinner. The grandchildren were hungry. She didn't know what to do. She prayed with no connectivity upwards, nowhere else. I didn't get a call. My office didn't get a call. My staff didn't get a call. No email, no WhatsApp, no SMS. I don't expect to have that money to do that. She didn't do it. But my truck landed up in that area, and I don't know why. We were sent to that area to help that lady, and it's happened many, many times over in this country. That same faith and spirituality that had on 27 April 94 is the same faith and spirituality that's present right up till now. One of the problems we have are the analysts in this country, the media guys and economists, always writing something negative. There's going to be violence. There's going to be bloodshed. The election's going to be crazy. Our rand goes down. The JSE lose shares. Government bonds are sold. There's capital flight. There's no investment. What transaction took place? On the basis of what transaction did all these things happen? There was no transaction. There was just a negative sentiment of somebody who decided to say something negative. No impact. You are a traitor. Sorry. Patriots don't behave like that. 6 elections, there was no violence. What was the reason to have violence in the 7th election? What was the importance to cause election violence? Absolutely no reason. Sometimes I wonder, you are agents for foreign governments. Why do you behave like this? Makes your country cheap. Is it to take over? Is it to pull money out and control everything? Doesn't make any sense what they're saying. That same fate, you see, they said there will be civil unrest. People are hungry, they're going to burn everything down. Let me tell you something. In 2002, when we had the World Summit on Sustainable Development right here in Joburg, in Sandton and Nasrec, Colin Powell and everybody from all over the world came. World Summit on Sustainable Development. That same week, front page of the Sunday Times, 160 children died of starvation in the Eastern Cape. Children are still dying of starvation in the Eastern Cape, right up till now. Is there any bloodshed? Is anybody burning anything? Are cars being attacked? Are trucks being attacked? What violence are you talking about? In 2011, in a place called Verdwaal, between Lichtenburg and Zeerust, in Northwest, 4 children went to look for their mother. She had left a little earlier. They died on the way from dehydration and starvation. You see, it's only rich people who complain. Imagine if that was your children. Our country don't have that problem. They want the latest iPhone, the latest iPad. They want to know about AI, which school they're going to, which flight they're taking, where they're going to. That's our children. Those children don't know where their next meal is coming from. They don't know when they're going to see their parents because they live with the grandparents. All 4 children died in 2011. We intervened in the area and we went to villages. Hundreds of children in those villages were starving. Did Northwest burn? Where do the analysts get the information from? We put a kitchen in the school where the kids are from, where they died, those kids who died, from which school they were. We put a kitchen in that school. 500,000 rand. 2011, up till today, 13 years later, that kitchen is still running. When we do something, we don't stop. 6 August 2023, last year, was a particularly bad day for us. It was our 31st anniversary. On the day of our anniversary, in a village called Toleni village in Butterworth, our mother killed her 3 children and she hung herself. What's the story? Why does she do things like this? The police, social development, community workers say it's not an isolated incident. What's the problem? Hunger. She killed her children because of hunger. If there's anything, the worst form of death that destroys the dignity and the soul of a human is to see your children die in front of your eyes every single day, losing weight, unable to move, unable to eat, and just losing hungry and just disappearing, and there's nothing you can do about it. She borrowed money from the neighbor. She bought food. After a few days, the neighbor wanted the money back. But nobody's working, so how are you going to pay back? She was so distraught. The morning of 6th August, she put rat eggs in the food of her food. The 2 smaller children ate the rat eggs and died instantly. She had more rat eggs, but no food for the bigger child. So she took a knife and shoved it into the throat of her child. And then she hung herself. A lot of women here, your parents, grandparents, you know what happens when you're pregnant? Must go for the check. Ultrasound, blood pressure, urine, check for protein, sugar, blood in the urine. Go for all the tests. Take your iron, take your multivitamins, take everything. Baby is born, breastfeed, stay up at night, child is sick, be with the child, do the vaccinations. From the rural areas to come be across a broken road, come to a public hospital. 4 o'clock, the doctor says, too late, sorry, I can't see you. Stay in the open casualty or outpatient, no blanket, no food, no water, no heating, no warmth for you and the child. Overnight, you starve. The next morning, you go seen by the doctor. You get your medicines 4 o'clock. You take the road and you go back. You do that kind of sacrifice for your child. You buy the school shoes, stationery, lunchbox. You sacrifice everything, even your own personal items. Why would you kill your own 3 children? There's something seriously wrong with the system in the country. Yes, I can't always blame government. The Texas of 7.4 million people can't look after 65 million people. It's impossible. And most of those 65 million people, well, it was 40 million at that time, were disadvantaged pre-94. They couldn't study. They couldn't become professionals. They couldn't become entrepreneurs. They couldn't earn. And now they were paying the price of what was prevented in 94. As a nation, we can't see that. The government is wrong. I said, yes, I'll come to the fact that they are wrong in a lot of ways. They are wrong. But everybody in government's not wrong. Governments do it. Do it how? Money from where? You see, the only place in the world you can do this is Islamic countries. Why? Because whatever comes from the earth belongs to the people. The mines don't belong to corporations. The oils don't belong to corporations. So whatever comes from the earth doesn't belong to corporations. It belongs to the state. And that's why there's free education, free health, free transport, everything free. In this case, where corporations run those kind of mining and all that kind of industries, we need to put back more to help the government, because our security lies in our nation being secure. Fortunately, when COVID happened, something changed in this country. Something drastically changed in this country in terms of public support supporting government. There was a major mind shift. You know, before COVID, when you deal with government, with corporate CSI, they'll come with some ridiculous project. I'm a very blunt guy. I'll tell them, take a project and fly. Don't waste my time. And suddenly, when COVID came, MDs and CEOs called. We're not interested in a tax certificate. We're not interested in media coverage. We're interested in saving the lives of our people. See, democracy is not dependent on government only. It's dependent on the people. I told you, the patriots in the country. When we all decide to work together, we change the lives of everybody together, our own children, our own future, and everybody in this country and those in the continent. It's a simple procedure. If I take all of us, and let's go to Wonderland Stadium, all of us go, but we wear the same color. Blue, green, red, yellow, black, whatever color you want to wear. But you must wear the same. Politicians, political parties, ministers, corporates, religious leaders, sports guys, NGOs, everybody in the same stadium. We won't know who is who. All we will know is that everybody in this building is a South African. And when you're a South African, you all have the same needs: water, electricity, education, peace, harmony, development, jobs. Everybody wants the same. Take a whole lot of problems and throw it into the stadium. Are we going to solve it from running away from each other? Are we going to solve the problem by going towards each other, finding each other and the right people to do the right job? We've reached that stage where people are coming together to work together. So COVID was that first example. When the MDs called and they said, we're seeing too many people die. We've seen our family people die. We've seen the hunger in the country. How much do you need and what do you need? When that happened, I already saw in 2020 that this country has a great future. Whilst we focus on technology and engineering and science, those are all wonderful things, even in medicine. But what people want is the human touch. Compassion is seriously lacking in the medical field as an example. We are too focused on robotics and all the different types of MRI and ultrasound and different types of scan. We're forgetting the human touch. If anybody brings hope to people, is that humanity and that compassion. It's not only about making money. There's no harm in making money. Make as much money as possible, but bring people into your system. Because there was a time when you didn't have a job, when your son or your daughter didn't have a job, and they studied, and it breaks you. After so many years of study, you had an opportunity, somebody else did have an opportunity. Great opportunity for everyone. It is pointless chasing wealth after wealth after wealth. You see, we have a teaching. What you don't spend is not yours. So I give all of you 2 billion each right now. You're going to be very happy people. I want to ask you one question. How many lifetimes is it going to take for you to spend that money? You can build 5 houses. You can have apartments and yachts all over the world. You can only sleep in 1 bedroom. You can only eat 3 meals a day. You can only take the yacht sometimes in the yacht, sometimes when the weather is good. You can't do anything else. Try something different. Feed your soul. Help people. You will notice a huge difference. There was an Afrikaner man in Mossel Bay. He called us in 2019 and he said, I need to talk to you guys. So, but I want to see you personally. So my Western Cape manager went to him and he said, I want to tell you a story. I turned my back on God Almighty. I got nothing to do with him. We didn't ask why, it's not our problem. He related the story. He said, when I was 21, I was going to get married. I had my fiancée, the wall, the food, the cards, everything was ready. A few days before the wedding, there was an accident and my fiancée died. I had no interest in God Almighty anymore. I turned my back on him. I never got married. I got no children. I don't even have a cat or a dog. I'm not interested in anything. But something changed in 2017, he said. I watched how your teams moved into Naisna when the fire hit on the 7th of June, 2017. You guys took care of the people. You didn't ask about race, religion, color, status, where they came from. You took care of the cat and the dog. You took care of the cattle, the sheep, the pig, and the horse, and the elephant in the park. You built houses. You rehabilitated the bees. 22 million bees died in the fire. We rehabilitated that. 300, we put in 300 beehives. We put in plants for the bees to eat again. We gave them pollen nectar substitute. We gave them a sugar solution at that point, and a research center was set up to save the bees. He said, when I saw that, I realized that kind of compassion and mercy can't come except for absolute being, an almighty, something great. And because I've seen that, you have reignited my faith. Faith is critical. It drives us. And one of the greatest benefits of this democracy is no religion is stopped. There are people in different countries from the same religion as the government who can't practice their religion. The same religion as the government and cannot practice. In this country, everybody is free to do what they want. We can criticize the president, the ministers, the government, anybody. Nobody comes, knocks on your door at night and takes you away. You can't do that in other countries. The civil liberties is the greatest asset that we have here. We can say what we want, do what we want, go anywhere, do anything. That is the greatest victory in this democracy. And I keep saying the other things, yes, we can fix them. But if you don't know those things, your life is totally shattered. In 2010, 20th January, I told you I'll give an outside example. 8 days into the earthquake in Haiti, it took 40 seconds and wiped out 240,000 people. In the collapsed Catholic Church in Haiti, on day 8, my teams heard sounds in the rubble. And there's another great thing about South Africans. We don't take care only of our own. We take care of people all over the world. And when we went inside, 3 hours later, after they heard the sounds in the rubble of the collapsed Catholic Church, they pulled out alive 64-year-old Enazizi. No oxygen, no food, no water, fractured hip. And all she did was inhale dust in that whole period of 8 days. When she came out, her first words to my team members, I love God Almighty. To instill hope in somebody several thousand kilometers away. But what kept them alive was their faith and their spirituality. Spirituality. Her second words to my team was, I love you. Spirituality and humanity is all about love. And South Africans need to learn to love each other in a much bigger way. You know, I came from school yesterday. I see black, white, Indian kids, my child or other kids in affluent schools playing with each other, astroturf, hockey field, squash court, wonderful fields, buildings, art, piano, music, choir. We all one happy family in that group. Yet when you go outside, those kids have no opportunity in the other schools in the rural areas. No ground, no toilets, no water, pit latrines, kids fall and drown in pit latrines. Your children die in sewage. We're living very happy at one level, but there's a total disaster on the other level. Government cannot manage this alone. I told you from 2020, I've seen the changes. The more affluent schools are now adopting other schools to help them with language, with maths, with science. Our biggest success is going to be when we all get involved together, helping each other. And you see these kids going to help each other, were so enthusiastic, and they bring kids from poorer schools to their school, and they start doing things. As long as South Africans have that kind of spirit, we will help and benefit each other. We need to go to the schools. Congratulations. Thank you, Stillwater Sibania. They said, we need to do this. Took out the first 10 million and said, put it as astroturfs in the schools, in the rural schools in the country. So we did that. They came back and they said, we need to upgrade the ablution blocks in the schools. Can we do that? Here's another 13.5 million. So we started doing that. And they said the poorer clinics, let's upgrade the poorer clinics in the rural areas. Nobody thinks of that. So we started upgrading the rural clinics. And they start calling, they ordered us, some independent guys called from Canada 2 days ago. We want to give you guys more money. What does that tell you? Ford Foundation USA called us. The head came and seen me last year, or earlier this year. No, sorry, it was last year. And she says, I want to give you some money. I want to put in science and maths labs in high schools. I said, you're wasting your time. She said, what do you mean? I said, go and do the research. How many science teachers are there in high schools? She came back to me. She said, you're right. Can we do this in a primary school? I said, yes. They funded 100 science and maths lab containers, the cost of 36.7 million. It's telling me There's still Walter Sibanya saying South Africa is a great country. It's telling me that Ford Foundation USA is saying that South Africa is a great country. And many, many more corporates are coming. When we're negative and we're feeling scared and afraid, corporates are saying we want to invest in 1,000 ECDs, so many schools, so many astroturfs. We want to make changes. We want to make development in this country. It shows they have a renewed faith in our country. We should have no fear factor. We should have no negativity. We should have a positive mindset. When corporates are being like this, they are driving the country to make changes in the most possible pleasant way. Ford came back to us. They said, you had a tornado in Tonga. Yes, $20,000. A week later, they said, we give you too little bit. Take another $30,000. Then they came back and said, let's $550,000 do megatronics. Megatronics is important in the country. Find and select the students from the schools and teach them and give them money for megatronics, $550,000. They're talking to us again to say, we need to give you many more dollars and we want you to expand in Africa for us. That is hope. That is helping the government. That is helping develop the society. What COVID, we lost 750 doctors in 9 months. And we lost 750 in 2020. And we lost 750 doctors in 9 weeks in 2021. Here the government has failed. In the health sector, they have failed completely. NHI can't work. There's no funding to pay for staff, no funding to pay for food in hospitals, no funding to pay for consumables, syringes, insulin medication, insulin syringes, nothing. No more money to upgrade, fix equipment, repair items. There isn't any money. The only way we can do this is get corporate support. You've frozen registrar posts. It's the most illogical decision to take. Registrars train students, doctors below them. They do the research and they become the specialists. If there are no registrars, who's going to train the people below you? Who's going to become specialists? How are you going to take care of the dignity of people? How are you going to save lives? And that's when you get the litigation. But now there's another aspect to this, you see. We always blame government. Government is corrupt. Government is not corrupt. There are corrupt people in government. It's very, very different from government is corrupt, because there are very corrupt people in the corporate world also. Who does price collusion with bread? The staple diet of poor people in this country. Collusion on bread, there's something seriously wrong with your morality and your ethics. Price collusion with stadiums in the country. Who are you stealing from? Not the government. It's not their money. You're stealing from the poor people of this country. When we told the government in Northwest, we paid 850,000 rand for the extra stuff because we came with 8 million. They said like 8 million for one. We said no, 8 million for 10. They said it's impossible. We were quoted 8 million for one. We paid 850,000 for one. When you go for equipment, when you go for repairs, the prices in the hospital are outrageous. And that's why we can't provide service. And then, of course, the corporates corrupt the people inside the hospitals. They sign off for 2 million rand worth of drugs, and they only get 200,000 rand worth of drugs. Clean profits. And what you say, the government is not delivering. Yes, there is a problem. Government must stop making political appointments in the health service. People like that obstruct the progress of health. When there is no post, and I'm totally against the issue of BBB. You come into how they advertise the post. There's no non-black person to take it. You don't fill the post. Who suffers? Black people suffer. Nobody else suffers. It's illogical what you're saying. You've got highly qualified people. There should be fairness in what we're doing. People are suffering because you refuse to fill a post. You advertise and you advertise. Last week, I was at Bokot Hospital. Prince Mashiani wants to do catch-up surgery. They only got one ophthalmologist. They advertised. They couldn't get any ophthalmologist to fill the post. Northern Hospital got two junior doctors in this ground to replace one person who passed on. They will do 10 times more work in the field than sitting in an office. Those posts are blocked. During COVID, I'll show you the fallacies in the health system. During COVID, a Professor Justin Jonas calls me. November 2020. And it tells me we got a problem. We can't deliver oxygen machines when people are dying. So I said, what's the story? He said, in May of 2020, Trade and Industry Minister Ibrahim Patel, see the forward thinking of government. Trade and Industry Minister Ibrahim Patel asked the scientists to build the SK telescope, can you please make a machine for oxygen, ventilators, CPAP machine, anything? So they had 90 proposals. They put it together and they designed the CPAP machine. Excellent machine. The government minister asked for the machine. The government scientists designed the machine. CSIR, a government entity, manufactured the machine, 20,000. SAPRA, the government health body, approved it for use locally for COVID. Solidarity Fund, part of the government, funded it 250 million. Everything to do with government. Good price, 12,500 machine, excellent price. The high flow nasal oxygen machines we were buying were ridiculously expensive. They use 80 liters to 120 liters per minute. And you can only use them in ICU. The CPAP only uses 10 to 30 liters per minute. You don't have to put in big oxygen tanks because they were getting depleted. You take and you connect it over the head of each patient. You don't need to put them in the ICU. They were far more effective than ventilators, which you couldn't get. So I said to the professor, what's your problem? He said, I can't deliver the machines to the hospital. So I said, you guys spend 250 million rand in manufacturing 20,000 machines, but you can't have money for transport to take them to the hospital. How illogical is that? He said, it's not the transport. So I said, what is it? We are being blocked by somebody in national health not to deliver these machines to the hospital. You know why? To get a nice backhand. So something that's far more expensive. The more expensive, the percentage is much higher. You get more money. So I said, where's the machine? He said, it's here in the Keisha Medical. I said, I'm in Tygerberg, sitting with the physicians right now. And they tell me the exact thing that you're complaining about. They say the patients are dying in numbers because we don't have oxygen machines. It was a phase of the happy hypoxic. The person smiles at you and drops dead right in front of you after smiling. Drops dead in the car, in the ambulance, in the taxi, in the casualty, in the car park, in the house, everywhere. Just drops dead. Drops dead in the hospital too. He said, you've got no machines. So I said, send the machine. I don't follow anybody's permission here. Send the machine. Put it on gave the doctors in Tygerberg. They called me back after 2 hours. Where did you get this machine from? It just saved so many lives. Took it to Khayelitsha. I said, let me try somewhere else. Same thing. A few hours later, where you got the machine from? We just saved so many lives. I don't wait for anybody in the health department to give me permission. When it comes to saving lives, I don't ask any permission. I know what I have to do. If you don't like it, it's your problem. We put it on the chat group. Who wants machines? Eastern Cape was having a serious problem. 40 CEOs put up their hands. We need this machine urgently. I send my trucks from Cape Town to Graafrenet, PE, and Tata. And then we send buckets behind them. In 48 hours, we delivered 900 CPAP machines to the hospitals in the Eastern Cape. Democracy is about working together, hand in hand, no other way. Kick the bad guys in the teeth and remove them. The only way we can do that is civil servant stands up. We dropped the ball, I told you, after the 10 years. We can't do that again. On Monday morning, the CEO of Kala Hospital in the Eastern Cape calls. And he says, he's laughing on the phone. We said, who laughs in COVID? He said, I'm laughing today. Because every Monday is Morbid Monday. We count all the dead people in our ward. Every Monday, it's heartbreaking. This is the first Monday nobody died. Your machines saved the lives of our people. Government initiative, NGO civil society initiative to take their machines and put in hospitals. And I commend those CEOs of those hospitals. The greatest asset we have in this country right now are those public healthcare workers who are prepared to stay in the hospital with all the challenges, all the hardships, all the difficulties, and study and come back to save lives. What Livingston Hospital has lost 13 consultants, registrars, and medical officers and have not been replaced. Those doctors who are left behind are carrying the load. We need to hold their hand and support them. And this is what you've got to challenge government on, to change it. We have to change this because lives depend on that. That's the positive side. I'll talk about the negative side of the corporates. Lawyers were having a fun time with litigation. Lots of cases were false. There were no such cases. Stealing the money from health, that's destroying our populations. And thank God for the SIU. I phoned them and congratulated them. They said they're coming for those lawyers. And I just spoke to them last week. They've saved 8.4 billion in people wanting to steal money. The Hawks, the SIU, and all our institutions. We don't see it. We only see the negative stuff. And that's why it's so positive for this country. Corporate South Africa last year gave the NPA 30 million. We want to support the NPA. These are the kind of things we want to see. Corporates and government work together in the best interest of the country. General Mkonazi has become a hero in KwaZulu-Natal. We always complained about crime. He's unleashed the police on criminals, on robbers, cash in transit heists. They go for it, no charge. They shoot them dead. 9-year, 6-year, 5-year. We must stop making excuses for the criminals, defending them more than the victims. We don't know what the victims suffer. Every time they do something, I send them a positive message. Well done. They said, nobody gives us good messages. We only get negative messages. But when we do something good, nobody tells us anything. Yes, they may be a policeman, but they're still human. Don't humans need acknowledgement? We can play a role in that. 2020 April, Nonzamo in Strand, COVID level 5, shutdown, lockdown. People were starving. They were waiting in the queue. It was freezing cold that day. My teams were rolling out food parcels. At 8 o'clock, the SAPS guy came and said, lockdown, no delivery of food parcels. The old people were standing in the queue. My team members coming from Cape Town, they said this, so the police said, I said, put him on the phone. I said, my friend, you can jump in the lake. Do what you want. You can arrest my staff. Do what you want. I am not stopping. I'm not going to leave any poor people to stay hungry here. You can get lost. And you can phone your general and your minister whenever you want. I'm not stopping. He thought for a few seconds. And he said, you're right. He said, you break the law? Me too. I'm also going to break the law as the SAPS. I'm going to call for reinforcements. Old people can't go home so late at night with a heavy parcel. We will take them in our vans and we'll take them home. The last old lady got a parcel at 12:30 in the morning. Remember what COVID distancing, everything takes long. And your crutches, walking sticks, it takes long. 12:30 in the morning, freezing. The old lady says, I'm going home to wake my grandchildren. And we asked her why. She said, you know, when I left home, they looked at me with hope in their eyes because they hadn't eaten for days. Imagine if the SAPS followed that rule. He understood the letter of the law, but more than that, he understood the spirit of the law was to save lives. So he overrode the letter of the law, shut down at 8 o'clock. The spirit of the law said if we shut down at 8 o'clock, people will die from hunger. And he understood it. But we say the SAPS is bad. Yes, there's bad element everywhere. Every SAPS guy is not bad. When the April 22 floods took place in KZN, Sergeant Busi jumps into the Henley Dam to take out not a live person, to take out a small child and an old man that drowned. Family wants closure. So she jumps in to clear out the body of a child and an old man. The dam sucks her in. The dog dives in after her because the dogs are trained by people who have compassion. The dog learns the quality of the human being. And the dog jumps in, and the lady and the dog both drown. Busi's body comes home. What must the children think? My mother is one of those bad people they call the SAPS. Horrible people, dishonest people, corrupt people. Is this a message we're sending to the people in the country? She was an honorable lady who gave her life to save deceased people. On the Nanda River, black people were waiting for the bodies of their children and their family members to come so they could catch it on the side of the river. We don't know the hurt and the pain of these people in the country. And every time it's the problem, we make the best as the bad people. They're going to burn the country. They're going to destroy everything. They're going to cause the harm. We need to change our mentality. They're not like that at all. They suffer so much. When the civil unrest took place in 2021, 3 days later, they were so angry at what they did. They said, we were used by people. This is not our way. They returned the stuff. They said, we don't do things like this. The following year, a political party called for civil unrest on the 21st of March, 2022. And they said, if you don't shut down, and your factory burns, and your shop burns, and you get beating, and you get looted, it's not our fault. You make it a chaos, and you say it's not your fault. Political parties like this don't need to be in government. In government, we have political parties and politicians that build the nation, not destroy the nation. If you really care for your country, if you are really a patriot, and I ask them all the time, why did you go to government? To serve the country or to serve yourself? Which one is it? To serve yourself, you'd rather do something else. You're going to go there to serve the country. What class and distinction? So that night, on Sunday, the 20th of March, around the malls in Amlazi, in Nanda, Kwamashu, all people stood with knobkitties and said, you dare attack any mall like what you did in 2020. We will beat you to death. This country will be protected by the masses. Our future, our success, our progress lies in holding hands with everybody. Because if we were on the other side, it's horrible to be on the other side. In June 2020, during COVID again, we gave out food parcels in Pedi. Well-dressed lady came. Thank you for the food parcel. Talk to my children. They will tell you the taste of every plant in this area. For the last 3 months, they've been eating plants to survive. Did they burn anything? Did they attack anybody? Did they destroy anybody? In Twaleni village, when we went to see the lady who passed away, when we went in the village, there were numerous houses where the old lady had the last cabbage to eat. We went in other houses, there were children sitting alone. No parents, no family, no food, just sitting alone in the center of the house. This is the challenges that we're going to hold hands together with the government to fix the system. I'm going to give you a spiritual story and I'm going to finish off here. When we did Daisna, we got 2 calls. One from Beaufort West, Western Cape Provincial Disaster, to say there is no water, the city is going to collapse. We got a call from Sutherland to say the farmers are collapsing. The sheep count is dropping from 440,000 to 32,000. The merino sheep is dying. The farmers have got no food. They've put off all the laborers. They've taken the kids out of private school, taken them out of university. They don't even have money to put in the fuel to buy fuel, to take the market to buy fodder. They don't have anything. Some farmers shot themselves. We had these 2 challenges. I told Western Cape government, only if Dr. Gideon Groenewald tells me there is no water, then there's no water. Whatever your scientists say don't matter to me. Only if he says there's no water, then there's no water. Groenewald goes to Beaufort West, whole week drilling, no water. Friday, Gift of the Givers has a very strong spiritual basis. It's not my organization. I didn't get up one morning and say to myself, I think I need an organization. I didn't need an organization. I had 3 practices in Pietermaritzburg. I worked Monday to Sunday, after hours, long weekends. I had no time. I was too busy. I was not interested in forming an organization. I got called by the spiritual teacher in Turkey. I was given instruction to form the organization. And I was told that this is my instruction for the rest of my life. I was only 30 years old. It's a long story. I'm not going into that now. So the basis is very spiritual. He gave the name of the organization. I didn't give the name. So Groenewald goes there. It's Friday. I'm in prostration in the mosque. I get up. I sent him a message. I said, Groenewald, you'll find water today. I don't know why I said it. Groenewald is in prostration also on the ground at the same time. He sees the message, picks up his head, looks across, and looks at the message. He tells Alfred, Sooliman said, we're going to find water today. We're going to find water today. So he said, we're drilling all week. There's no water here. His eyes focused on the mountain across. There's an outline of a white horse in stone. Die wit perd. He said, we're going to find it there. After the day, Alfred tells him, for a while, when eating too much of dust, your brain is full of dust. We're never going to find water there. He said, we're going to find water there. He goes there. People tell him, you're not going to go across that land. There's a farmer there. It was impossible. He's never going to allow you through. He said, give me a number. Gives the number of the foreman. Foreman gets the number. He said, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. You can try. Here's the farmer's number. He phones the farmer. The farmer says, is this Gideon Grunewald. He says, yes. He said, I've been waiting for this call. The gate number is this. Take your machine and go through. He goes, he sets it. As it drills, the machine jumps. Sets it second time, it jumps. Sets it third time, it jumps. He tells Alfred, just drill. Where does the machine jumps? 20,000 liters an hour. Where the machine jumped. We said no water. We drilled 7 boreholes. We pushed it into the Khamkar Dam. With gravity, we brought it into the city. We flooded into the city, into the municipality, all the reservoirs. And we put 4 boreholes, 2 in the schools and 2 in the old age homes. We saved the city. But the municipality was not in our way. The government was not in our way. The province was not in our way. We did this working together. The second part, we started selling fodder to Sutherland. They came back to me in July 2018. We appreciate what you've done for us, but it's over. I asked, what's over? They said, all the bores have dried up. There is no water. Fodder without water for sheep is no good. There is no water. What can we do? I said, Grunewald is coming and Martin Landman are coming. Don't worry. I said, Grunewald, solve the problem. We drilled 238 boreholes at our cost of 90 million to provide water for the sheep. And we carried on selling fodder. We now form pallets. I got an Afrikaner family, Sibyl and Jan Versace, that provides pellets to a machine that fortifies pellets, lucerne, maize, molasses, enriched, so the sheep can eat in the warehouse. They don't have to go in the field. The sheep count for the first time in January 2023 have started to rise. Farmers are employing farm workers again. The economy is starting to grow again. The GDP is supporting the country from agriculture. Farmers are now more stable. But when the Ukraine war came, the pellets price went up by 5 rand a bag. They said, we can't afford the 5 rand increase. I paid that 5 rand increase and I subsidized the rest of the pellets. From 2017 up till today, I've spent 400 million rand to save the farmers in the Northern Cape. They're all South Africans. They all have families. We do this together in the best interest of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great democracy. It's a great country. You've been getting scared, thinking what's going to happen. People are leaving. Did they tell you that 400,000 South Africans came back? Did they tell you the flights from all airlines are increasing in South Africa? Did they tell you that in 2023, October, the cardiology conference in CTICC, 2,000 cardiologists from all over the world with their families came to this country? Did they tell you that on the 6th of December, 2023, the neurosurgical conferences are opened, 3,500 neurosurgeons from all over the world came to South Africa with their families? Did they tell you that the CTICC is booked for all international conferences right up to 2026? People see the beauty and the hope in our country. We don't see it. This is a great country. Be a patriot. Be civil society. Be vigilant. Speak out. Help. Hold hands. We'll build this country into something that nobody has ever seen. And we're on that path already. We put up a 60 million rand upgrade at Chartered Makeke after the fire. The DBSA came there and they looked at it. They said, we didn't tell them the price. We had the fire doors, world-class engineering, everything. They brought the engineers, they brought the technicians, they brought the fire people. They said, how did you guys manage? This thing cost 150 million. We said we did it for 60 million. They said, it's impossible. Maybe you guys should do our projects. They spoke to us already about taking over some of their projects. Government departments have come to us. We want a private meeting, no Zoom, no virtual, just 2 of us in the room. Because there's people in our department stealing money, overinflating prices. Money is being lost. There's no service delivery. There's been a huge change in thinking where government wants to put the things right that it's messed up with the corruption and giving context to friends and the political appointments. We have to fight to change all those systems. That's the big fight now. Corporates have been embraced by government. Help us with Transnet. Help us with clean energy. Help us with corruption. Help us with roads and development. Corporates have been embraced to come in. And that's when the ego is gone and government is working together. It's great for the country. But when the corporates came in, they came with one mistake. They talked down to government. We MBAs, we studied in Harvard, we studied in Oxford, we studied in Stanford. We're all these clever guys. We got all the you guys are stupid. Without saying it, that's what they meant. You can't talk down Mandela said, when you come to the negotiating table, if you are not prepared to compromise, don't negotiate, don't come. Corporates have changed their attitude. And when we work together in this way, we are going to fix the country. Crime, the Transnet, the ports, the harbor, every aspect. The SIU is strengthened. The Hawks are strengthened. The president signed out more laws and more powers to the Hawks and SIU. They are making huge progress. Everything takes time. But it's going to happen. Civil society has to be vigilant. And we've got to hold hands across the rich and the poor to help each other, like the schools are doing, like everybody else is doing, like civil society is doing, like we're helping each other. This country is a great country, but it needs us to be patriots and to give back. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Is the song. O Westmoreland, thou art a summer bird, which ever in the haunch of winter sings the lifting up of day. Dr. Sooliman, after hearing you, that's what Henry IV said, after hearing you, I know what it means to feel lifting up. Thank you for your passion. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an extraordinary lecture. Last week, Justice Edwin Cameron delivered the Sunday Times lecture, also reflecting on 30 years of democracy. And he spoke about what he calls the famished termites, which gnaw away at our democracy's pillars and foundations and present a present peril to our constitutional order. But tonight was something of a tonic, something of a riposte to that. It was about the ethical leadership which profoundly and on a daily basis goes up against that cynical tide. Dr. Sooliman, you spoke about an ethical leadership in which all of us actually are challenged to serve. An ethical leadership where we look to heal actually as a society, and an ethical leadership where, as you say, we get rid of negativity. These are wonderful and very inspiring thoughts, so thank you. I think you would struggle to find a South African of our times who displays greater universal values than Imtiaz Sooliman, or a greater public hero, time and again, helps people in tragedy without regard for race, religion, creed. I'm of course alive to the fact, as chairman of the Helen Suzman Foundation, that in the lead up to this lecture, there has been some criticism from some quarters about our choice of speaker. And that is good and fair, because we need rather than a narrowing, we need a plurality of voices in our democracy. But let me say this. When we speak of social justice in South Africa, it is clear to me that there are few people or organizations, time and again, have proven, not through their talk, but through their action, that they want to provide solutions without recognition necessarily, but solutions to heartbreaking issues which face the majority of our countrymen on a daily basis. Tomorrow, unfortunately, the realities of our unequal society mean, that we will hear of some other community, some new community, denied some basic human need as envisaged in our Constitution, and denied through no fault of their own, other than that they are poor. And at some other date, some other point, which none of us know, save to know that it will occur, there will be some other calamity happening, devastating flood perhaps. And then, not through their words taken out of context, but through their action, it will be the gift of the gifts to respond to these communities in their hour of need. Dr. Sooliman, you also spoke very movingly about religion and spirituality, faith, and I saw the lovely text, religious text written on the back of your shirt. I'm reminded that while one religious text says very beautifully, "He who saves one life saves the world entire," that is echoed in another religious text, which says, "The best of you are the ones who go beyond their tribe and contribute the most to mankind." I know these are the words by which you live by. And ladies and gentlemen, if South Africa is to be saved, as you speak about, by whatever metric we choose to define that, whatever success is, we need more people like Dr. Sooliman, not fewer. And I hope the words that were spoken tonight have inspired all of us not to only criticize government, but to understand that there's nuance, but also inspire us all to do more. Because as Justice Cameron reminds us, those famished termites abound. Dr. Sooliman, thank you for reminding us about the human touch you spoke. Thank you for reminding us about what we need, what it means to be South African. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. It has been a most wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
Are you part of the foundation? Are you part of the foundation? Oh.
No, she's with me.
Oh, okay. Okay. No problem. Sorry. I can put it off.
Maybe. No.
I don't know how many people can come to the it's like the big and engineers like this. And the big and will have to do. And they give people time. Then you're going to find me. I'm really just casting that slow. You can solve that slow. Because you've got talented people and people trying to play. Very big chance.